Following the late Queen Elizabeth II's death in September, the public had been wondering how the new monarch would go about the staple Christmas Day speech. King Charles III reflected on the selfless dedication of NHS staff and his late mother the Queen. King Charles seemed to have decided to film the speech from a different location, which an expert told BBC Breakfast could have been an acute choice. The King was also standing as he gave his speech from the King George VI Memorial Chapel, unlike the Queen, who would sit in a drawing room surrounded by photographs of her loved ones. During the statement, he paid tribute to the armed forces and workers in the emergency services in a speech which has led many to question whether this is the beginning of a more politically involved monarch. In the wake of the striking of NHS staff, rail workers, Royal Mail workers and more, the King praised the selfless dedication of workers. Reflecting on the speech on Boxing Day, BBC Breakfast presenter Ben Boulos chatted to royal historian Kate Williams. He remarked that it had been a very different speech to what the public had previously seen from the Queen. He pointed out, it was done standing up and it was in the Royal Chapel at Windsor, not in a drawing room or a living room in the palace. "Yeah, standing up, and we believe it was recorded a few weeks ago," Kate replied. She continued, "This was, of course, the last time that a male monarch gave a speech since 1951, that's the Queen's father, just before he passed away a few months later. And Charles was standing in St. George's Chapel, in which his mother, as he was saying, and his father, are buried. The last time we really saw it was when it was the second part of the Queen's funeral, and we all saw it in the Duke of Edinburgh's funeral, the lockdown funeral in which the Queen was alone, so it's somewhere that has become very familiar to viewers." Charles was standing very close to the graves of Henry VIII and Charles I, he was sort of in the middle of that area. "And I think choosing St. George's Chapel obviously evokes the passing of the Queen, and how significant this was for the country and for the royal family. But it also means there can't be that scrutiny that there would be otherwise of someone in the room saying, which family photo is where? Who's forward? Who's not there?" And some would also say, "Well, how can you say people can't heat their homes when you're surrounded by expensive antiques?" I think it was an acute choice of being in the church. "I don't think we'll see it again next year, but it may be that we're beginning to see a new type of monarch speech where they're no longer in their own properties." King Charles went on to discuss his and the late Queen's belief in the extraordinary ability of each person to touch, with goodness and compassion, the lives of others, and to shine a light in the world around them. He added, "We see it in the selfless dedication of our armed forces and emergency services who work tirelessly to keep us all safe. We see it in our health and social care professionals, our teachers and indeed all those working in public service, whose skill and commitment are at the heart of our communities." BBC Breakfast airs weekdays from 6 a.m. on BBC One.